Stories from the golden age of Delmarva. Lighthouses in the 1800s tend to be a white men-only affair for sad and obvious reasons. Slavery, discrimination, prejudice.
But tantalizing exceptions to this rule are out there, including one remarkable story set on the eastern shore of Virginia. So why not have Secrets of the Eastern Shore author Jim Duffy give us the Throwback Thursday treatment and tell us about the life and career of William Major Parker. First of all, thanks for being here.
Yes. Good afternoon.
It's not Thursday without you.
Good to see you.
All right, so let's talk about this. Mr. Parker, born in slavery?
Yeah, so he was born in the 1850s to a free black family, and his whole youth, as far as I can tell, is kind of a blank slate. We don't know what town he was born on, we just know that he was born on the eastern shore of Virginia. And he kind of first pops up in the historical record when he enrolls in the Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute after the Civil War. So this is the time when all of the historically black colleges are being born, including our own UMES here. And Hampton's over in Tidewater, of course. So he enrolls there, and his experiences there really kind of shape his life, all that the work ethic that he learned and everything else that he learned there. But he never finished school. He dropped out.
Really?
Yeah. To take a job.
Okay.
So this is Reconstruction times. You know, there's always an aspect in these pioneering stories of right place, right time. So he's in the right place, right time in the 1870s in the sense that back then all of these jobs, that the government jobs that were given, were handed out as like political spoils. So if you knew the right person, you could get the job. If you didn't know the right person, you wouldn't. So he meets this guy, Thomas Taylor, who was a big white Republican Party of Lincoln guy, working to give black people more opportunities after the Civil War.
Okay.
He meets him, must have impressed him, because Taylor arranged for him to become an assistant keeper at the Assateague Lighthouse. And he was the third black keeper in that time in Virginia and the very first one on Delmarva. And then it's right place, right time again in the 1880s, because it comes time for, they build a new lighthouse called Killick Shoal Lighthouse right on Chincoteague Bay. So he becomes the first lead black lighthouse keeper on the Delmarva Peninsula, taking over at Killick Shoal, where he stayed for 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was reaction to having the first black lighthouse keeper?
Yeah, there was a little noise. There was an article in the newspaper that was basically, they said they called him utterly incompetent. They said he didn't know which way the wind is blowing. But nothing really much other than that. There was like one article in the newspapers. Now his sister later wrote about Mr. Parker and said that he daily battled the challenges of the lighthouse job in a way that earned the esteem of everyone that he came in contact with.
So he was respected.
So it seems, yeah. It seems that he was.
You can count on it.
It seems so. Long career there, and there's two interesting things that happen. In 1905, he goes to Chincoteague to get supplies. Lands in the middle of a big mess. There has been a murder. They're forming a posse to look for the murderer. And at that time, the law was, if the sheriff says, Jimmy, you need to go help me look for this murderer, you were legally obligated to go.
Okay.
He's got a lighthouse job for the federal government. There's ships coming, that light's got to come on. He ignored that order and went back to the lighthouse. And the next time he came into town, he got arrested.
No.
But to the credit of the Lighthouse Board and the federal government at that time, they had his back and they came to court and they defended him, and all of the charges were dismissed.
Good. Wonderful.
Yeah. The second incident brings us to the end of his life. I want to preface this by saying, by all indications, he was a really devout guy. Friendship United Methodist Church in Wattsville, a congregation still meeting today.
Really?
He was a trustee there for like 25 years. After 26 years of just him and his wife Venus living on the lighthouse and working at the lighthouse, the light doesn't come on one night. Venus is in Chincoteague. She notices the light doesn't come on. All the people in Chincoteague notice the light doesn't come on. They send out a scouting party to go see what had happened. And you can imagine kind of how nervous and full of trepidation they are. They get up there and they find him passed away He's on his knees with his hands folded in prayer.
Really?
That's his final pose. The lighthouse was torn down in the late 1930s, but it's still, the light is still there. It's on the platform that the building used to be on.
Okay.
And so if you're going over the causeway, you can kind of look off to the left and you might catch a view of it on your way into Chincoteague. And if folks do that this summer, maybe give a thought to William Major Parker and his pioneering accomplishments, and wish him resting in peace.
Absolutely. William Major Parker.
Is he buried around?
He's buried at Friendship United Methodist
church?
in Wattsville.
Okay. Wow.
Another great story, Jim. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.